Greetings and welcome to the channel. Today we're off to a church in a place called Mildenhall, which is just outside Marlborough in Wiltshire. And the reason we're going here is because Sir John Betjeman, the poet, once referred to the place as the best church in Wiltshire. Well, I'm not sure if that's really the case. I have been here before with my son, and it's very nice. Well, we'll have a look inside and you can make your own mind up. The church car park's closed, so why is that closed? So near and yet so far. How can I park? Maybe it's too damp there. So I can think. There's a church anyhow. Right, I'll park further up and walk back down, I think. In Praise of Churches by John Betjeman. Of all the churches which remain untouched by the Victorians, the loveliest I know is that at Mildenhall, near Marlborough. It stands in the Kennet Water Meadows, a simple four-square affair, tower, nave and aisles either side, and a chancel. When you approach it, you begin to see signs of the past, clear glass panels, patched and flaking outside walls, looking like old watercolour. And then inside you walk straight into a Jane Austen novel, into a forest of the most magnificent oak joinery, an ocean of box pews, stretching shoulder high over all the chancel. Each is carved with decorations. The doors and sides of the pews take a graceful curve either side of the font, and another curve above them is made by the elegant west gallery. Norman pillars just raise their sculptured heads above the woodwork of the aisles. It is not simply that it is an old building that makes this church so beautiful. It is that it contains all its Georgian fittings. Though the date is 1816, the style and quality of the workmanship is that of 50 years earlier. Mildenhall, it is the embodiment of the Church of England by law established, the still heart of England, as haunting to my memory as the tinkling of the sheep bells on the Wiltshire Downs. So there's a church before us. I think as usual, we'll wander around the exterior and have a good look at that before we go inside. Should be open, I think. Unless it isn't. It's quite a small tower, really. A lot smaller than the ones I'm used to. Have a little look in through the window. One for the cobwebs. I just missed the pealing of the bells. I turned the video off to take a photograph. It's 2 o'clock. Lots of grey stones lined up against the walls here. Let us therefore enter. Even the pulpit is a box pew. Oh, and it seems there's a pulpit the other side too, which is most unusual. I'd just been waiting for some people to leave who had entered here. When I last came here with my son, he was fascinated with these box pews, and especially he liked these circular ones around the font, which are so curved, beautifully done. He was sort of in a rapture, playing with it, captivated for quite some time. Really good craftsmanship. You don't need to be a believer to appreciate workmanship such as this. I just noticed a beautiful light on the pillar there, reflecting through this window. My son was swinging on these when we last came. He was a lot smaller then, so he couldn't damage anything. It still concerned me a bit though. I don't think he realised how precious they are. Some of these are quite stiff. Of course, in days gone past, people would have rented pews. When I first heard that, I was quite shocked really, because I thought if we're all equal, how can you have a monetary pecking order? Is this a church artefact, I wonder? Paw Patrol, my son used to be into these. Funny to see it here. Of course, to a child, this probably has as much significance as any other artefact might have to an adult. Apparently this is the former site of the medieval chapel, and there's a piscina here. It says here, mid-13th century painting under arch soffit, roundel design with stylised eagle motif. The painting's up here. The area behind me is set for private prayer. Often when I've gone into these spaces, there has been more of a sense of quiet in them, and sometimes I've been struck by certain areas of the church where clearly there has been more silence and reverence given to these spaces. These are interesting carvings, quite lowly set in here. I can reach them without having to climb a ladder. There's another one through this side. And what would have been, I suppose, candle holders. They look like candle-type bulbs. Look at these shaped wooden insets for attaching them to the pillar. It says here that the royal arms above the chancel arch are those of King George III. It can be dated to between 1801 and 1816. In 1801, the union of Ireland and Great Britain took effect, and the Irish quarter with the harp was added to the royal shield. The fleur-de-lis of France was dropped, and the arms of Brunswick were put on the small shield in the middle, inside by the electoral cap. After 1816, the electoral cap was replaced by the royal crown of the Kingdom of Hanover, Napoleon having abolished the Holy Roman Empire, and the Congress of Vienna gave to Hanover the dignity of the kingdom. Here is a coat of arms of the Reverend Charles Francis. He was rector here from 1750 to 1821. The coat of arms signify the status of Francis as a 18th century gentleman parson. It would have been carried in his funeral procession and then lodged in church. The whole of his clerical and civil life was under the patronage of Thomas, the Earl of Aylesbury. Our church's story. Apparently the first bishop, Elmund of Winchester, exchanged royal land with Abbot Mucha. Minor or Minor becomes part of Glastonbury Abbey estates in 1804 AD. In 1860, the Danish's great heathen army invades Wessex to 1878. Battle of Edgington brings peace. 1909, Anglo-Saxon Diocese of Ramsbury established and abolished in 1066, no doubt by William the Conqueror. 1016, Second Danish invasion. Canute, King of England. Two-story Anglo-Saxon tower built. 1066, a Norman conquest. Salisbury Diocese founded. Norman bishop appointed. 1086, Domesday Book. Edward of Salisbury holds Minor. Tenant-in-chief, the Abbot of Glastonbury. In 1100, the Normans build Minor church's nave. In 1200s, tower, arch, and chancel in the early English style. Right, well, thank you for joining me on this journey. As usual, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.